What up YouTube, this is your girl Panisha LeVay, back with another YouTube video. Today I will be reviewing the Netflix original series, The Babysitters Club. So, as you guys know, if you are like me and probably a bunch of other middle 38-year-old females out there, or males that read the Babysitter Club series, you, like myself, were excited when Netflix announced back last year or 2 years ago that they were going to create an original series by rebooting the Babysitters Club. So, as we all know, the Babysitters Club, made us anxious and couldn't wait to turn 13 years old. With the Babysitters Club series, you got introduced to Claudia Kishi, Stacey McGill, Marianne Spear, Dawn Schaefer, and Christy Thomas. As we know, Christy Thomas was the president, Claudia was vice president, Stacey was treasurer, Marianne was secretary, and Dawn at the time, she was an alternate officer. Yeah, she was an alternate, which means she could take any other place if one of the kids had to leave. So what I will be doing today is I will be going over the original TV show that aired, I believe it was like in the late 80s, early 90s, and it was produced by Scholastic. I will be comparing the movie that came out in either 95 or 96. I don't know why I'm thinking 96, but I'm thinking it was 96 because I know I had to be no younger than 8 and no older than 10. So in 96 I was 10, 95 I was 9, and 94 I was 8. So it's one of those. I believe it might have been 95, 96, but I digress. I will be discussing that movie, and then of course I will be discussing the book series and then the Netflix series. So let's go ahead and just jump right into this video right now. Alright, so let's start off with the original series, which is, I will put a screen of it up here above. Let's start with the original series, which was entitled The Babysitters Club. Now in this series, it was all I had growing up. I used to wait for it every Saturday because it was when Saturday mornings were the best. You would get that bowl of cereal, your pajamas, and you would sit down and you would watch Saturday morning cartoons or whatever. In my case, I watched cartoons, like I watched the X-Men, I watched whatever cartoons else was on, but I also waited until like after 12, because after 12 that's when like the older kid shows came on. So I was watching like Sweet Valley, Saddle Club, I was watching the Babysitters Club. So I will wait for those 3 shows to come on, because at that time those were the 3 main books that I was reading besides the Boxcar Children. If it wasn't the Boxcar Children or the Saddle Club or Sweet Valley, I was addicted. And when I say addicted, I think the Babysitters Club might have been my first step into going into fandoms, because the Babysitters Club, I was a part of the fandom Something Serious. I had every single book. Every time a new book came out, I rushed to the bookstore to get the book. I taped the series on VHS, which shows how old I am. And at the book fair, like I would save up allowance just to go to the book fair just to buy the books, because I was that obsessed. So I had books, the dolls, the special books, the little sister books. I had the puzzle, lunch boxes. I mean, it doesn't matter. If it was Babysitters Club, I had it. So of course, when the TV show came on Saturday, I was right there with a ringside seat. Now at that time, I enjoyed the show. I loved it. I mean, it brought my beloved Babysitters Club members, it brought them to life. It put them on the big screen for me. But when I got older and I started rewatching the series before the new Netflix series came out, I was putting my daughters onto it. And with, rewatching the series, I realized that, while it was a good series for at its time, to me, now looking back at it, those weren't the characters, you know, that I imagined. Like, I didn't imagine for them to look as old as they did. And, you know, growing up seeing that, it gave me it gave me an impression that that's how I would look when I was 13. That I would suddenly look like a grown woman, and I could do this and I could do that. And I don't know about you guys, but I didn't look like them at 13. Maybe 15, 16, yes. But at 13, I wasn't looking like that. At 12 and 13, I wasn't looking like that. 11, 12, and 13, no. So, I just felt like that in the old series, while it was good, the cast looked older than what they were supposed to be. Now, I know a lot of people might be like, oh, well, you know, the age really don't matter. They were still teenagers, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that is correct. But to me, I just feel like if I'm a young child and I'm reading a book, you know, I'm expecting to see somebody that looks like me. I'm not expecting to see somebody that looks 15, 16, like my older sister or my older brother or older cousin. You know, I'm not expecting to, I'm 11 and I'm thinking, okay, so that's how I'm supposed to look. You know, I mean, you know, that's how kids think. As an adult, you don't think like that. And you're like, okay, whatever, they just look like that. But, you know, as a kid, you're thinking, okay, so is this what I'm supposed to look like? And that's not the case. Another thing that I noticed with the old series is that they didn't go, it kind of jumped around the entire series. So if you didn't read the series, you wasn't aware as to like what happened or what led up to what. Like one of the episodes, you see Marianne and Logan there together, and then another episode it goes to like, I think it's like Christy's something else, and it's like you just see it just jumps into episodes with all 7 girls. Was it 7? Hold on, let me see. Dawn, Claudia, Stacy, Marianne, Christy, Mallory, and Jess. So yes, it starts off with all 7. You just see the series with all 7 of them already in the BSC. You don't get introduced to, you don't really get a background on each girl like you would with the book. Like you would have to actually read the book to follow the old TV show, in my opinion. This is just me. In my opinion, I feel like if you wanted to get the most out of the original show, you had to read the books to understand what was going on and to know where the episodes was coming from. That's just me. Now, as far as the movie goes, now the movie plays off the book, which was a special book. It was actually Christy's special book. I had that book. And it was like Christy's Summer Vacation or Christy's Summer Camp or something like that. I forgot what it was titled, but I remember the book. The book was yellow. It had Christy on the front, and it was the books that came with the doll, and it told you all the backstory. I mean, like the whole book was solely, it wasn't focused on anything with BSC. It was solely focused on them and their life. And in that book, it told you about how Christy's dad was there at first, and then like he left, how she seen her mom struggling. You know the story. Christy's big idea basically kind of summed it up, but Christy's book and the book that the movie takes from actually goes more into depth. So with the movie, it's about when they wanted to do the summer camp. They wanted to spend the whole summer together. Christy's dad makes a reappearance, and Christy starts lying to everybody to try to be with her dad, and her dad ends up just hurting her again. So, you know, I read the book. So when I read the book, I was like, okay, cool. So when, you know, 9 or 10-year-old me, when I seen it come on TV and it's like, oh, come in theaters. Oh, I begged my parents to take me to go see it. It was no ifs, ands, or buts. I wanted to go see it. But we didn't make it to the movie theater. So when it came out on video, and this is telling my age, we went to Video Update, which is like Blockbuster or whatever, but we went to Video Update, and my parents rented the Babysitters Club for me. So we rented the movie. I watched the movie. Like, I probably watched the movie so much to the tape popped. And then for my birthday, I actually got the VHS movie. So in the movie, you have the girl that played, I cannot think of her name. The girl she played on She's All That. God, I cannot think of her name. I think of her name. I'm going to put it up here. But it's the girl that played from She's All That. She played Marianne. Kristen Dunst, I believe. I'm gonna put everything up here. But Kristen Dunst, I believe, is who played Dawn Schaefer. Zelda Harris, which was Troy from Crooklyn, she played Jessica Ramsey. And then you had somebody play, I don't know the girl name, but like I said, I'll put the pictures up here. She played Mallory Pike. She played Claudia Kishi, and she played Christy Thomas. And it was just, the movie, like I said, I watched the movie so much, like, I popped the tape. When I got older, I actually just rewatched the movie probably a couple of months ago. And I still enjoyed the movie, so the movie wasn't bad. The TV show wasn't bad either. But the movie wasn't bad. I believe that was probably, at the time, that was like the closest to the book you got besides the TV show. So that was pretty nice. Once again, I do believe that the actresses that they casted to play the 7 friends, I believe they looked older than what they were supposed to be. Zelda Harris looked like she was maybe 13 or 14 at the time, maybe 12. I'd say 12 at the youngest. The girl from She's All That and Kristen Dunst looked like it was about maybe between 14 to 16. And the one that played Claudia Kishi and the one that played Stacey McGill, they looked like they was about 15 or 16. And that's, like, I'm not even trying to be funny, but they really did. They looked like they was about 14, 15 or 16. Like, the youngest anybody out that cast looked like they was about 14. And yes, it's only like maybe a year or two difference, but to me, I just felt like they should have looked more closer to the age. I feel like if you would have got actual 11-year-olds to play Jessica and Mallory, actual 12 or 13-year-olds to play Christy, Dawn, Marianne, Claudia, and Stacy, I feel like it would have been a little bit more realistic, or it would have been a little bit more appealing, I would put it that way, because you had the cast members that looked like they was way too old. So now we get to the Netflix series. It is so much right. Like, I have to give Netflix a round of applause. Netflix, I really don't know what to say, because Netflix has been, let me say this, Netflix has been doing the damn thing, okay? Netflix have been putting out some phenomenal original series. Like, I am, like, Sex Education, I love it. Like, it's British, but I swear I love it. Sex Education, awesome. Their movies, like, they have just been, Netflix has really been on the ball with making their own Netflix original series. Anything from movies to TV shows to animation or anime, which is what I like to call it, anime, because Cannon Busters, yes. But, you know, anime, like, they have been on it. But that's a whole nother video. But with Netflix, I appreciate it. I felt like that whoever was the creative mind behind the Netflix series, they actually sat down when they was probably younger and read the books and fell in love with the series by Anne M. Martin. Because when I watched that series, I watched it by myself the first time. Yes, I watched it multiple times. The first time, I watched it by myself. And I was hooked from episode 1. The reason I was so hooked on the series on Netflix's version, was because one, they went into session with the books. Each episode was a book. And if you are an avid book reader like myself and get highly agitated with book to movie adaptations and how they leave out so much and how they change so much from it going from the book to a movie, i.e. Percy Jackson, that's a whole nother video. We're not even going to get there, because that series and that movie does the series zero justice. But I digress. Anyways, back to the Babysitters Club. So each episode is a book. So episode 1 is Christie's Great Big Idea, which is book 1 in the series. And I also like with the episodes, it's just like reading the book. Because as you guys know, when you read the Babysitters Club book, i.e. when you read Christie's Great Big Idea, you read the story from Christie's point of view. And guess what the Netflix series does? It tells you from Christie's point of view. So the episode is solely from Christie's point of view, because it's episode 1, Christie's Great Big Idea, and you see the episode from Christie's point of view. So Christie is the one that's narrating it. You see Christie's background. It's just like the book. Like, I absolutely loved it. Book 2 is Claudia and the Phantom Phone Calls. So as you know, in book 2 is from Claudia's point of view. So in this book, you shift and you see Claudia's point of view. And so on and so on. So each episode is each book, and it's going in order. So it's 10 episodes in the series. It goes in order up until I believe book 9. And it takes it when they go to camp. So it merges one of the special books into episodes 9 and 10. But for the most part, the first 7 to 8 episodes are in succession. And I was so proud. Because usually I think book 9 or book 10 was like Logan Likes Marianne. But they kind of like alluded to it. They put like a special book in there. So, I mean, but that wasn't a big problem with me. Like, I still enjoyed the book. I still enjoyed it. Still enjoyed the series. Another thing that I like that Netflix did with this series was that Netflix added diversity. And if you've read the books, you know, Anne M. Martin was all about the diversity being included to make every single little girl feel like that she was a part of that series or that world. You have the young woman that played Claudia Kishi. I believe she's Japanese American. She looks like she's Japanese American. I'm not sure. I will have to research and double check. But this young woman right here, she's the one that's playing Claudia Kishi. And you know, she looks, we'll get to that, but she's playing Claudia Kishi. I like that. And then for Marianne Spear, you have this young woman right here. And as you can tell that this young woman right here, she's of mixed origin. She's black and white, or African American and Caucasian, to be political, because I don't want to step on nobody's toes. So we'll say African American and Caucasian. She's mixed race. And you also have this young lady right here that played Dawn Schaefer, and I believe she is of Hispanic origin, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure, but I believe she's of Hispanic origin. That's what it looks like, but I'm not sure. I will have to research it, but I believe that's what she is. So, and then of course, you know, you have this young woman here that's playing Jessica Ramsey, that's African American, and then of course you have the redhead playing Mallory, and then you have the tomboyish playing Christy, and then you have this young woman right here playing Stacy. Now, when I seen the cast, that was my Babysitters Club. Those were the girls that I imagined 23 plus years ago, when I first sat down and read the books when they was placed in my hand. That's what 10-year-old me envisioned when I read the books, was those young women right there. And I love the diversity. Like, the diversity of the cast was amazing. As far as age appropriate, yes, Netflix nailed it. Claudia, Dawn, Stacy, Christy, and Marianne looked age appropriate. That's how 13-year-old girls look to me. And I substitute in middle school, so they do look a little older now. But for the most part, that's age appropriate. That's what a 13 or a 12-year-old child would look like. Then you get briefly introduced to Mallory and to Jessica, and they look 11 and 12. My daughter is 10, and she favors Jessica and Mallory. Like, that's how they look. So I was very impressed with that. I felt like the casting was on point. I felt like the creator and the director actually picked up a book and read the series and brought the series to life, because the way that they have the way that they have Claudia and Stacy styled, that is what I imagined them in a book. Stacy's from New York, so I'm expecting her to be all glammed up. Netflix series, they nailed it. With Claudia is artistic, and she's prone to wild colors and this and this and this and this. So reading that's what I imagined. Netflix nailed it. Like, she looks like the Claudia, they look like the Claudia and the Stacy that I imagine. That's just it. So, just to wrap it up, because I do tend to ramble, and I do apologize. But just to wrap it up, I do believe that if you are a huge fan of the Babysitters Club, I do highly, 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 highly suggest that you watch the Netflix adaptation series. It's really good if you have children and you want to put your children onto the series. My kids are in a process where they are definitely trying to watch it. Like, my kids have watched it, they loved it. I've watched it and loved it. Anxiously waiting for season 2. So if you have watched the Babysitters Club, or if you read the Babysitters Club, like watched the series, the original series, or if you watched the movie, or if you just got introduced to the Babysitters Club and you're watching the Netflix adaptation, please list down in the comments below who's your favorite club member, and are you anxious for season 2? So until then, Geeksters, I will be talking to you guys later. Bye.